Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show. It is June 24th, 2025. I believe it's my mom's birthday today. Got to remember to call her. Let's see what's going on today. The dollar is dumping, Bitcoin is pumping, crude oil is dumping too. What are all these things? These things are all economic indicators of what's going on in the world. And we have none other than Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, coming on here. He is, his camera is up and ready. Sorry, I've got his camera off on the screen here. Hold on one second, Pedro. Let me get you going here. I click the button. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Pedro Garcia. What's happening, Pedro?
Not much, man. How you doing today?
Good. It's blazing hot here in Canada for Canadians. It's like 90 degrees, and they're like, oh, people are canceling meetings and opening cooling centers, and it'll get up to like probably in the mid 90s, but still, I mean, everybody lives in air conditioning. It's not like people are outside like standing in the sun laying bricks, This isn't 1794, and everyone's like, well, I got to go run the Reaper out there all day by hand.
Well, what's interesting is just the idea behind, like, there's people out here right now. I mean, it's 100 degrees, almost 100 degrees, and like 100% humidity where I'm at, and people are literally laying bricks. There are people up on roofs and if you've ever done a roof, everybody knows how hard that is, and they are carrying
that's hot all the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's just funny, like different parts of the world, and they just do it, man. It's absolutely like amazing.
Well, everywhere I've gone where it's hot, the trick is wearing, you think wear as few clothes as possible.
No,
but the trick is to cover yourself in something white. Just cover yourself, cover your skin. Don't let the sun hit the skin.
Yeah. And let yourself get wet.
Hold on one second, Pedro. Tell everybody what to do for a second here. I gotta take a quick.
Alrighty then. All right, guys, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. We really appreciate it. Also, when you hit that share button, please just click on the link incognito. That shows the algorithm, hey, these guys are doing something well, and there's a lot of good information, and then so they send other people to us as well through the algorithm. So please help out our small network here. We're trying to build and get it grow. We go over everything underneath the sun. We talk about things that people want to hear and things that people don't want to hear, things that are not on main if I can say that right, the mainstream media networks. And one of the biggest things that is different about us and everybody else is that the guy right next to me, we argue a lot about issues, problems, situations. So you get a lot of different views. In addition to that, I try to have a contrary view as well as a agreeable view so that I can see both ends as well as the fringe end that allows a person to be able to kind of have a good view of the circumstance. And once we see a convergence of these, it helps with you and you get a wide variety of views. So that's about it in a nutshell. Thank you guys for coming today. Appreciate every one of you.
Welcome everyone that's joining us on the standard great platform of Rumble, and everyone that's not joining us on the crappy platform of YouTube. Come on, YouTube algorithm. You guys showed us the love for so many years, and then all of a sudden, and our content really hasn't changed, Pedro. I mean, it's essentially the same. And our viewers, the viewer base in crypto has only grown.
Yep.
But apparently, I have done some poking around, and crypto is having, unless you have a lot of like member subscribers, crypto channels have been having a difficult time for some reason. Probably what we'll find is they got a letter from Elizabeth Warren. We want to know how many people are money laundering through YouTube super chats. Got to be the North Koreans.
Either way, yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm a firm believer. We do give great content. We're doing a great job. So sooner or later, it's going to catch. And I don't see it really just, you know what I'm saying? We just keep going, keep plugging away, and sooner or later, it'll just crack. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. That's faux show.
Oh, shizzy, my nizzy. All right.
Shizzle.
All right. Precision my nizzle. All right, my dude. Let's jump right into Bitcoin and kind of go over the technical indicators that I'm looking at, some of the things that I'm seeing here, and then see whatever you guys would like to do. So one being Bitcoin right now is seeing a big rally. The only thing is as you can see right here, you see the amount of volume coming in today. For today, look at this. Or from yesterday, it wasn't a lot of volume. It's the same amount of volume as this day right here. Okay, so with that said, I'm expecting it to go lower. Okay, because I would have loved to seen a big old huge rally, something like this. It doesn't even have to golf it, but we just want to see something of a nature where you have a good amount of volume coming in. You barely had half the amount of volume coming in from yesterday. So that's why this big rally was really, I think, based off of the slowing down of what's happening in Israel and Iran. And so, gotcha. You can see here, it's a little weak. We potentially could be coming back up to test the high here and to see it kind of go down. So be ready for that. But we are sitting at some areas of resistance, one being here. So you could take a play right here. You have a supply area here where this is going to be a liquidity pool. So again, we all know how I talk about these trades. You just go in, test the high. Once it gets below the 8-period moving average, go short. And then you want to see it go down, take your first 1-to-1 ratios, take off 60% off of the 1-to-1 ratio. And if it continues down, great. But if not, move up your stop and keep it going and make a little bit of cash, because compound interest takes care of itself. Alrighty, so that's with Bitcoin here on a short and sweet. Today's Technical Tuesday, so I will let Tom hit the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you want to learn all about everything and how the world affects you, I'm kind of winging this intro if you can't tell, but all the world's economic indicators ultimately do affect how you, the value of your, sorry, I was getting feedback there, affect your bags. And a lot of times you might not think, well, I got to watch the dollar index. I don't need to watch crude oil. I don't need to even worry about copper because I don't trade in those. Well, they all affect the value of the dollar bill, which is also crumbling right now. And those all affect the value of what's in your pockets. And if you want to know what's coming up, you got to pay attention to DYOR Media on Technical Tuesday.
Alrighty then. Tom, I'm gonna send you something.
Playing.
Alright, Tom, I'm gonna send you something.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Pedro, I had your mic off while you were talking there. Go ahead and send me what you were telling me in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, Technical Tuesday. Pedro goes over the world indicators and what's going on with the dollar, the gold, the bond, you name it, we got it. Pedro, what's up?
All right, great, guys. So we just went over Bitcoin. Let's go right in real quick with the world's economy and see what's going on. So it gapped up pretty hard today, but again, with decent amount of volume. So this is what this is this is the world's ETF. All the stocks in the world, they kind of put it together in one giant indicator, or I call it an indicator, but you can buy this and basically take part in everything in the world when it comes to stocks. You can see here that we were showing some pretty bullish or some bearish signs here as we were going down. We started seeing pickup in volume right here. So again, I'm still a little bit bearish on this, just simply because we did get close to our lower line here that I expected the gap to come down to that 161 and potentially that 159 area. But the biggest key part behind this is that this is an indicator that kind of tells you what's going on with the world stock market. And as this moves, we then can kind of see what's happening potentially with America, or let's say India or China, and they do affect us, as which we've already seen with the tariff wars and the correlation behind that. So this is a good way to kind of gauge kind of what's happening in the world when it comes to stocks and stock markets around the world. As you can see here, we were expecting this market to go down. We went down pretty much, but then from yesterday with the ceasefire with Trump and supposedly like everything's easing, well, you can see that was really bullish news for the world. And so, but here's the thing. This right here, this crossover, it's still looking like it's going to happen, which is a bearish sign. So that's why I can't get behind this. We've had multiple times of seller volume.
What time frame is that, Pedro?
This is just the daily.
So we need a big day up to keep that crossover from happening, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen today.
Yeah. The only good news, or the good news behind it though, is that it did bounce off the weekly chart here, as you can see, that 8-period moving average, but we did break it. And as I always say, if it goes up on Monday and Tuesday, expect it to go down typically Wednesday, Thursday, or start the descent on Wednesday and go down Thursday and Friday. So that's why I'm not really 100% into this. It's like, I can't get behind it. You know what I'm saying? So that's in a nutshell for that. Let's go. And I'm going to go over things. I do have something that I got to do. So I'm going to go over this stuff quickly and then jump right into the news. And then, so if you guys have any questions or concerns, please respond back to us. Let us know your thoughts and what you guys are thinking. And then from there, we can go over that. Put your questions in the comment section and we'll get back to you or go over in the show the next day. All right, so the next one is we're now going to go into the S&P 500. Again, we saw the S&P 500 go up, right? And this is where, again, I don't see any demand wicks. It's almost a fake out getting ready to happen. Look, we went straight up from the week and now we're continuing up. But as you can see, we have lower volume kicking in. So as this is happening, it's one, again, it looks like it's a rope-a-dope. We're seeing a descending volume as we are moving up, and that is not a good sign. That shows that most likely the markets are weak and there's not a lot of conviction in buying and pushing this market up. So again, I can't get behind this movement up because it's just not looking pretty. And additionally to that, if you look at the monthly, we're in a monthly zone sitting right here. And so this monthly zone, this monthly zone is sitting about, let me put it, boom. Then I used to, monthly zone. Let's do this. Monthly supply. And you can see here, we're coming in. So it makes sense why we would be going up and lessening the buyer volume. You can see here. Now, I do got to admit, this huge amount of volume sitting in this wick here was pretty awesome 3 weeks ago. We did put in. And so now we're going up for the month, but we are getting close to the end of the month and it looks like things are slowing down. So that's one of those things that if we look at right now, come on. There we go. And it's not going. Okay. I'm going to point this down right here. If you look at the month, that ain't going to work. Boom. As you can see right here, this area shows us the end of the month is coming. So it looks like they're pushing it up potentially to drop this here. So this is where I'm a little bit more bearish on this level here because we didn't really put in a demand wick, except for the month we did, but for these couple weeks we are not really putting it in. So this is why I'm a little bearish. If you look at the monthly right here, you can see that the buyer volume is slowing down, so the conviction isn't 100% moving up. And so this is why we got to sit back and go, okay, you can go long. Like I said, if market moves up, we go long, but always be ready to sell that position in case the market starts to turn around and we see another continuation of it going down. All right, guys, so that's in a nutshell there. Boom. Let's go over now the NQ. Now, the S&P 500 is kind of like the granddad, right? Or the dad of the family, kind of leads things, keeps things going, and is just the big person in the family. Now, the Dow Jones is like the teenager, okay? And so the not the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is like the teenager. And what that means is it basically is kind of all over the place, but ultimately it's going to follow the family. Because I'm looking at the market here, and when I'm seeing of just a lack of conviction and buying in the broader, larger market, it communicates to me that even if we see a rally in the NASDAQ, it will most likely turn around because that's what we're seeing. And if you look right now, you can see the same situation happening. Even though we're moving up, you can see here that the volume is dying. So we're going to see if we can continue, if we can get volume all the way up to here if not here on the NASDAQ, it might bode well for crypto. All right, so that's what we're looking here. That's this area up in this level. We want to see at least get above there. If I see that with the NASDAQ, it might trump what's actually happening with what we're seeing in the within the NASDAQ, or within the what's the word I want to use? Within the broader market of the S&P 500. So, and the reason why that happens is there's a big portion within the S&P 500, which everybody knows as the Magnificent Seven, and they are the tech stocks that actually go through and really pull the NASDAQ, as well as the Dow Jones, as well as the Big Papa, the S&P 500. So with that said, you can actually see what's actually happening here. Now, ultimately, if we don't see a huge amount of volume coming in within the NASDAQ really pushing up, I'm almost certain we're going to see a turnaround and come back and test these lows down at these levels here, which is going to be right around that 16,500 area on the NASDAQ. And you probably should be asking, why are we going over this? Because the NASDAQ now we've seen it correlated to the Bitcoin. I'm going to dub it as Bitcoin industry, right? Even though crypto is very, there's a lot of nuances there. The way traditional finance is looking at it is really simple. Is they just see it as Bitcoin and everything else follows it.
Well, so, there's a lot of Bitcoin companies now on the NASDAQ. Maybe not in the NASDAQ top 100, but certainly listed on the NASDAQ now. I mean, all these mining companies had to raise money to buy more miners, and so they went public. Took a bunch of equity money, and now they're taking a bunch of debt money after they ran through their equity money.
Exactly.
Little swoon to $60,000, and all those companies will be out of business, and you and I will be able to mine on our laptops again.
Hopefully. All right, so let's check out here real quick. You can see here on the Russell 2000, which is the bellwether for all the indices, and you can see how we've had an increase in sellers and a decrease in buyer volume here. So with that said, again, I'm more apt to sit there and say, I'm looking for this market to go down. Now that's in the monthly market. That's the monthly. Let's go back to the daily here. We can see that the daily has been consolidating for the last month here. We've been kind of playing in this range. It's basically between that 2160 area down to the, where is this at? I gotta go back and look at this right here, to the 1900, 2000 area. And that range has been playing. We were watching the buyer volume basically kind of drop off, as well as seller volume picking up. Again, we saw this is more seller volume up in these levels. A lot of shorts are sitting at this area. This is why we're seeing a major resistant level, because of all these sellers here, right? And so if this thing continues, we'll probably pop up above the resistance level and then see it turn around at these levels here. So because that would act as liquidity, right? Sellers have buyers, and then institutions come and absorb those buyers with shorts, and the market goes down. So that's it in a nutshell for
quickly as a reminder, everybody, a lot of you are not familiar with the Russell 2000. It's a small business. It's a index of small businesses. That doesn't mean mom and pop flower stores in the corner, but the smaller to medium-sized enterprise businesses, and those are the largest group of employers in the United States, and for that matter, Canada. And if those businesses start to falter, they drop employment. Or on the other hand, if they start to boom, they hire first. And so it's a bellwether of how the economy is doing overall. Whereas, as Pedro was saying, those top 7 tech firms don't really show how the economy is doing. They show how that sector is doing, and how innovation and research is doing. Just a little explanation from the guy not in the square. Thank you, Pedro.
You're welcome, my friend. Here we go. So now let's go and get down to the bonds. The bonds are really interesting. We've talked about this now for a while, that I expected to see a sell-off into the bonds, and now we're kind of breaking through here.
You're talking about bond pricing now, not yields?
I'm sorry. Thank you. Bond yields. So these are the bond yields. I'm expecting the price to go down. We started talking about we started talking about yields going down back in May. Because of just the lack of conviction that we saw people having with it. People were selling off, and the bellwether that I look at for that is, or the, what's this? Am I saying that right? Bellwether, right?
Yeah, the bellwether.
Yeah. The thing that I'm looking at here is, and I think this is really important to understand, is when the market starts to sell off here, right? What's really important is that this, even though the Fed, even though banks may say they're going to raise rates or keep rates the way they are, if the traders and as well as speculators and large institutions start looking and saying you have to drop rates, and these guys are just as smart as the guys over in the Fed, they will place their bets to say that this needs to drop because they understand what is happening in the economy with jobs, this, and also to understand what Tom was saying. If you understand the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000 makes it very clear it's not strong, right? Even though everything else is getting near highs, we know that the smaller companies that employ 90% of America as well as Canada are moved and they're not strong. So this is where you want to look at yields that communicate to them to play the other side. So if rates drop, we could potentially see an increase in the economy for a short term, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will continue if the people do not feel secure in the large scope of the economy. We won't go into that today. But as with that said, we were talking about in May and late April that I'm expecting the bonds to drop. Literally because look at all these, and the reason why I'm saying this is these are days. The yield would start high, and this is the monthly one month yield. You can see that the market would start high and it would sell off. It would start high, it would sell off. And so with this said, it was communicating even back here in December as well. We were saying, hey, I'm expecting this to go down because look at all these seller wicks as we would start high, go up, and they would sell off. So people were selling their 1 month yield treasuries. So the other thing behind this is as it continues, where is it going to go? I'm honestly expecting it to get down to, I mean, if Powell drops its 100 basis points, I would not be shocked. I really would not.
When is that meeting? When would that announcement be? This week or next week?
No, I think it'd be next month.
Oh, next month.
I don't think.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It held at 4.5 just last week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd expect it to be next month. And so if he was to do it, so this is where I'm kind of expecting to see the 1 month note get down to, and that's going to be that 325-ish area. Okay. And I expect it to get down there probably within a month, tell you the truth. So we'll see what's up. As you look at the 2-year yield, again, 2-year yield is saying the same thing. We're coming back down. Now, this is a play you can play here, okay? Is whereas you can get down, if you want to trade this, you can trade this on the CME or whatever, but you can see, or whatever platform that you use as trading, where you can trade the 2-year yield. Now, you can see right here, I'm really looking at, that's going to be the 325 area on the 3-month yield, 3-year yield here. And this is going to be a nice little play for you guys as it hits it, see it come back up. Again, we're playing this because we know that the other yields are going to go down there. If the 1 month goes down there, it probably is going to play more at the 338 because we'll expect to be at a higher level because typically the longer the rate goes out, the higher the yield is. So on a 1 month, you're going to have a lower yield, but versus on a 2-year, you're going to have a higher yield because your money's locked up for longer. It's like a CD, the way to look at it, right? The longer you have your money in a CD, the more yield you get from it. So you can see that right here. Let's go into the 5-year. 5-year is sitting at the 385 area. And what's interesting is you can see that the 2-year and 5-year are pretty close. So I like this as a play. You could short this one all the way down to this lower level here, which is at 235. And again, the reason why I'm saying this is because of the words that were coming out of the Fed. Now you're having disagreement between the Fed, which way the rate should be either held or lowered. And so because you're having that, I'm expecting honestly to see it to go down. Everybody knows all of Europe is lowering their rates. Everywhere in the world is lowering the rates, but America. So I would expect to see us lower those rates coming in. And so this is going to be an easy play. Well, not an easy play, but a predictable play. Just like I went at the beginning of the year and I talked about the plays happening within the Trumpian move, right? This is another market move. And I'll put it like this. Trump said, drop crude oil, and crude oil dropped. Now Trump is saying, I am
God, I say, and markets move.
I wouldn't say that. I just would literally say that the man is starting to garner a lot of, or command a lot of respect because he's handling a lot of things. And I'm not talking about the far left or the far right, but the middle is really where they're backing Trump because they realize what he's doing. Now, obviously, the far left and the far right are throwing major tantrums, and we see that what's going on in day-to-day interactions. We're watching the right, we're seeing all this other BS, but ultimately the middle goes, yeah, we understand why you're doing it. It makes sense. All right. So this is why I would expect if Trump says you need to lower the rates, I would expect that the market is going to ensue the direction that he wants to go, ensue in the direction that he wants it to go. So that's why we're going over yields a little bit more today than what we normally do. We normally just stick to the 1 month, 5, and then we go over the 10 or 20 and we stick to that. But you can play these plays. The 5-year yield is an easier play. The 5-year yield is but you can play these plays. The play, it also doesn't cost you a lot of margin in the trade. So if you trade this on the CME or something of that nature, you can be able to get in on this trade and follow it down. I'm expecting it again to get down. Again, as everybody knows, I try to get as much of the trade as possible, right? I want to go as far as we can until we can really see it. So this is going to be the 1 month. Where is it at? Where are you at, month? Demand. Boom. I forgot I had this. And then the other day I was like, what is that again? And I was like, oh, this whole entire time. So I'm going to see if we can see the 320. Here we go.
While Pedro's setting that up, everybody, thanks everyone that's watching us on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, and X. Thank you very much for your eyeballs. Make sure you hit that like button. This week, today, Jerome Powell is testifying right now, and the market is slow while he's talking. Nothing's going on. And he's on, Jerome's he's not getting younger. And Congress has had him up there now for, 72 hours. Okay, it's only been like 3, but still, it's a long time. And Jerome's looking a little rough. He's clearly had a little, Pedro and I have spoken about the Fed and their super TV studio and that. Jerome appears to be wearing makeup today. I think he forgot that the lighting is different in the congressional hearing room rather than the Fed's room, and it's obvious that he's wearing makeup. But anyway, the congressmen, I'm not listening to it, but I can see it. And some of them have happy faces asking him things, and other ones are just grilling, have the angry face. Bad, you not like Trump, bad person. You dig hole in back 40, dump body out of Lincoln trunk.
That's funny. Sorry, it's cracking me up. Here we go. Let's jump right into this. So the next one, I would expect us to see this lower level of that the 325 area again, sitting. As you can see, we're already putting in seller wicks that the speculators are putting in the shorts, expecting us to go down. So again, somewhere between the 333 and the 320 area, this area, you can see here on the weekly chart that the 50 period moving average is sitting here. So we should hit that 50 period moving average. The only thing that could potentially stop us, again, these are going to be targets for us, is the 400-day period moving average, which is sitting at the 349. So our first target is looking right here. Second target is around this area here. And if we can see this thing pick up steam and really start to sell off, our next level is going to be that 257 area, or the 250 area of yields going down on the 5-year yield. Now everything else, now that I went over the 5, is going to pretty much be the same levels, just at a different area. Okay, similar situation, but you can see here that we've been expecting the 10-year to come down to our lower level here, which again is going to be that 390, which is going to be our first target here. Now these are higher risk if you play the 10-year yield, but again, your profit is going to be much. So I expect us to hit this level here. If Jerome Powell drops it substantially, I'd expect us to see it come back down to that 325 area again. And this is where I think the institutions are going to want to push it and expect it. So this might not happen. The drop may happen maybe a 25 or 50 basis point drop over the next month, and then into the following months we would expect this thing to continue down, because I think as things start to unravel on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ and things start to fall apart here, which went over last week, and the reason why I expect that to happen, this is where we're going to see the markets push. Now, it was shocking to see the governor step up. I forget the guy's name.
Governor Waller.
Yeah, Governor Waller talk about he said we got to drop this. So if that does happen, expect these areas here to really pick up. And if we get down lower, this lower level here is potential area that we could see come down to that 26 area. The lowest level here, and this would be crazy, but if we were to get down there, would be that 34 cent, or the 33 area here, right? And this is if Armageddon happens again, 2008 unraveling, I'd expect us to get back down there. And if you put a couple good shorts up here, I'm not telling you to take big positions, I'm telling you to take a small position. Actually, I'm not telling you to take anything. This is what I'm doing. So whatever you decide you want to do, if you want to take my advice or not, go ahead, that's on you. This is not financial advice. This is only social and educational purposes only. Please do not take my advice.
Don't ever listen to him, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
go find a bum on the street and listen to that guy.
Yeah, that will help you better. Again, I do that for safety reasons. So you can see here that I'm expecting us to go down here, boom, see it bounce up, potentially come here, boom, and come back down to this level area here. We'll see as we move forward and things start to escalate.
Pedro, I've got a quick question to interject about these bonds. So I'm sitting there looking at you putting in the levels for them like you do on Bitcoin charts and other crypto charts and all that. And I've never asked you this question in 2 years of listening to you talk about bonds. How would either I or any of our viewers trade these things?
So I've actually never seen the ability to trade these on crypto, but since everything's becoming digital, I actually need to look that up. So
well, I mean, forget crypto. I mean, just like where
you would go,
other than trading desks at investment houses, and I mean, can you? So, is there a platform so you can do it, or get an account with the CME, or get an account with a prop firm, or?
Yeah. So what you do is you go through and you get an account with any type of trading platform. You'll set up a broker. That broker will then give you access because they have the relationship with the CME. So for example, if you want to trade with Trading View, tell them like, all right, here's my thing, pay it. And they'll say, what broker do you want? So there are multiple brokers. So here we go. We go to the paper trading area. We can pull this up here. Boom.
You know, I never knew that Trading View had a paper trading section until about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't like it. But again, that makes sense. Where is it at? Oh, let me pull out. I know. Why
And for those of you watching on Rumble, we would like to read some ads today, but we can't do that unless there are more of you. Why don't you share this link? Share the link out. I've done that. A couple of viewers showed up. I need you to share it and comment. Gotta have some interaction. Gotta know that if we read an ad, there's viewers to click on the URLs and buy stuff and participate in the consumer economy. Consuming creator content like Pedro and I make, and consuming the stuff that people schlep to you to buy. I should say that we schlep to you. Not schlep, that's not the right word. Shill to you to buy.
All right, guys, so let's jump in here real quick because I am coming up. I have about 15-20 minutes left here, so I got to get going.
You said you had to get going at 2. Make sure you're out by 2.
No, 1.
Oh, you said 2. Okay, let's hurry. Get with it. Move past the bonds. On to crude gold, dollar.
Yep. Boom. Just look up brokers. You'll be able to pull up a broker, and then they will be able to connect you to the actual bond market. And if you set that up, we actually probably should connect with the CME and say, hey, look, we're a network. We go over markets. We'd love to get a connection where we can get people. So let's see if we can do that, and we can offer that with the CME. There are a lot of people who do that. And not that you're going to make any money, but at least we give access to many of our viewers off of that.
Or it just helps us grow because there's a connection. Makes us more legitimate than we already are, Pedro.
This is true. And then YouTube will stop beating us up. All right. So one of the things here, and I want to finish off here real quick with this, when it comes to the bonds, oh, come on. This thing is being a pain in the arse. Come on, just work. There it is. Okay. So you can see here with the bonds, as we are moving, the 20-year bond is higher. So if they drop this, expect, and this is what I would do, I would honestly expect this thing to continue lower. This area here is one of those things that, because it's higher, if they drop this, if the 20-year bond drops, again, this takes a lot of capital to trade, but you can take one contract on this. But you can see here, as this is continuing to go down on the daily, if we get down to that 3.25, potentially, I would expect to see the 20-year bond get down to at least that 4.35 area, if not potentially that the $4 area. So I'm going to mark some of our zones here for us to play here. So this area right here is one of those areas that we could potentially play. Which is going to be that 339 area, and then potentially we can see a big bounce. So this would be a trade for a liquidity pull. And so here we go. Stop.
Boy, what a slow day today. Volume is slow, viewership is slow, and I was watching Crypto Lifer stream earlier, and even his stream, which he can get 2,500 people watching live at once, was just pushing over 1,000 a day. So something's up today.
Yeah.
With not just with YouTube, but with the market in general, as you said, volume was overall was kind of lackluster today. I mean, it is getting to be the summer, but with Jerome Powell testifying, everyone's waiting with a buy, a long or short button, just like ready to interpret a word incorrectly. And what I've listened to, he just answers things matter-of-factly like he does on
what just happened?
When he's given his FOMC thing.
And I am.
And for those of you not paying attention, Jerome Powell, the chairman or the governor of the Federal Reserve, chairman of the Fed, whatever he is, the chair, is testifying in front of Congress about how the Fed has been working, interest rates and all that type of stuff. The Republicans have not been happy with him because he's not been lowering interest rates as other countries have done. And he said, well, we've been reporting the inflation numbers, and the U.S. government has been reporting the inflation numbers, and they're not coming down as fast as we'd want to. And so they beat him up, but really it's a committee. He's the chair of the committee that votes on interest rates. So they should haul the whole committee in there and say, why aren't you guys doing that? But that won't get as much. They haul in Governor Herlihy and Governor Garcia. They won't get any extra eyeballs. They'll get the viewers we're getting right now.
Right. So what's interesting is last week, and we're probably going to go over it tomorrow even more, but we can go over poultry, we can go over beef, we can go over rice, we can go over a lot of the commodities here, and I'll show that prices are continuing up. So now I understand why Jerome Powell is saying, but you don't understand, everything's still going up. If I lower rates, we will see inflation skyrocket, or potentially see stagnation based off of buying and selling, where people will have to lower prices on these base goods and then see it come down. But that again depends on what's going to happen. Are farmers going to go out of business, right? They need to make a profit. So this is where things are going to really get a little hairy. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But let's jump here back in. Here are some plays that we can play here, which is basically going to be that 471 area. I like it. I also really think we're if we see a big sell-off, the 439 and potentially down to our 375 area, which is right about here. But again, we really don't have anything until we get down to our area right here, which is a monthly demand zone. And so that here is potentially an area that we could see price come down to at the most, which would be absolutely crazy. So I didn't really go over this part in any of the other ones because it's the 10 and 20 year that really matter when it comes to the market. 10 year kind of the most, but I really would think that these would be great plays if the market comes. Again, here's another area here that we could play based off of the market move. And so this is that 50 period moving average on the monthly. We could hit this and see again a nice little bounce. You guys could take advantage of it as the market moves. Okay, let's go in now into bonds. We're going to stick with the 10-year bond. We've talked about bonds.
Just did the bonds.
No, that is yields. Those are yields.
Bond yields. Now bond pricing.
Yeah.
You've got
Bond
8 minutes, Pedro.
I know. That's why I need to go. So, boom. So you can see here that we're going to hit this area here, which is going to be the 50 period moving average. Our price is going to be the 116 area. Expect us to see it move here simply because this would be an area that's going to be the next. As bonds go up, yields go down. We just went over yields going down. Expect bond prices to go up because crypto is creating stable coins. They will they've already been buying a lot of the bonds, so expect them to actually see this thing continue up, and it's going to continue up fast. So this was part of our play here. We talked about in December and January as Trump that I expected bonds to go up, but it was more stagnant. And so now with this set, if that does happen, I would expect us to hit this area first, and then the next one's going to be that 137 area. So expect these moves to kind of happen kind of abruptly. These would be hard, and there's been a lot of buying. As you can see, we've consolidated here for almost a year back at these levels, and so there's a lot of money to be made on bonds. And so I would expect a lot of those crypto guys to make a lot of money on their bonds. We would see something like this go up, boom, and potentially probably go even higher. But when we get there, we'll talk about that. But these are the areas I'm expecting us to go up to next. That's the 10-year. So if you understand the 10-year, what I showed, you can see the same type of zones up at those levels here. On a lot of the other bonds. Nextly, let's go over the dollar and kind of we're going to jump in here because it's going to be a little bit weird, but I'm going to go into this. So India, right, as America gets stronger and starts to see things really get going we know that that the rest of the world is pulling away from China. The heavy-handedness hand of China has kind of put themselves at a loss, and so now the rest of the world is saying, where else can we go? America is
people not happy with that.
Absolutely. And we've seen how heavy-handed they've gone with Africa and a lot of the countries out there, as well as the South Pacific area. So it's one of those things that South Pacific. I'm sorry, my brain just it just busted. I just want to make sure I was correct. So we hit our area with India play here. We talked about it coming down into this level and bouncing up with India. So it's a nice little play that if you guys got in on this, it was pretty good. You can see how we came down literally into our area where there would be liquidity, and we went up and went up. I saw this today and I was like, oh my goodness, that's excellent. So boom, we came down to our zone area with India. We saw it bounce up. Now it's moving up. Now with that said, I really believe we're going to get a lot of our manufacturing is going to head over to India that was done over in China, right? We're de-escalating that situation and we're moving everything over to India. So India would be a great place potentially to start to start taking some plays there. So if you're looking to play, you can play this on the ETF, which is called INDA. You can also take calls on this as well, or option strategies that literally expect the market to move up, and you can make some money on that. So this is one of those things that you could play on this ETF. It's not as liquid as I would like, but it is fairly liquid because a lot of people do trade it. So when it comes to Russia we've talked about Russia going down. If this stuff really starts to propagate, we start to see things even increase more, and just an ostracization of what we're seeing with Russia. Again, I expect Russia, you can see here as it's been going down, to fall through this. This is the IRUS index. I'd expected to see the Russia index to go from 27 down to the 2100. And so you could short this all the way down into this level. Just be ready to see a bounce at this level here at that 2370 area here. So it's one of those plays that I would expect to see as a good little play off of. We've got good metrics when it comes to the market move. So I would expect that. I mean, we've got major risk reward, just set up very nice, very nice. Sorry, very nice. Very nice. Who's that? Is that guy, the Irish, or not the Irish, the English comedian, Borac. There you go. I think it was Borac.
That's not who I was thinking of, but yes, very nice.
Very nice. So you can see here, coming down here, it's a nice play. Our stop that you're looking for would roughly, we should see kind of a bounce back up here a little bit. And when it bounce backs up, you can see it come down. And so this would be a great area to take advantage of this play as it goes down. Next, let's go over into China's PGJ. The PGJ, which is China's ETF index, you can see here that it's starting to move up. We bounced off this level here. Now, it's really interesting. Because of the global situation, I think they're actually manipulating their stock market.
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because this should have fell through. So I would sit there and say, just keep an eye on this. I'm not telling any real plays here, but at least they've got to come down to this demand area, because this is where real buyers are sitting. So if you're looking to take advantage of this trade, that's at that 2470 area to that 23 area. Again, we know that they're manipulating everything here. So just be careful there.
Or they're just removing the numbers altogether from public consumption.
Really is probably it. So and they're probably buying their own stock market. So it's one of those things, kind of crazy. Now, as this is happening, expect the yuan, and I would go into the yuan, but I can't go into it just yet. But the yuan is definitely been showing strength, which is kind of weird because they shouldn't be necessarily. But the fact that the dollar is plummeting shows a nice little play here that we can actually take advantage here. So we've talked about the dollar getting down to our levels here again. And you can see here, this is exactly what we're watching. Now, I think what's happening here is this. I believe that China was going out and buying up, as well as Iran and many other adversary nations that are opposed to what we're trying to do. And so you can see here they were buying it, but the fact that they're in war and they're starting to hemorrhage in many other places, you can see here that now they've kind of given up the ghost, instead of buying it. And we're watching the dollar come down to our area that we talked about, a Trumpian play here, which is coming back down to that 97. And I said expected to come down to 97 into that 95 area. So if we continue down here, I would expect us to see the dollar definitely come back down and play in this area here and stay in this area here. So this would either be able to good play that you could do an iron condor or a spread if you know how to play options. So these would be areas that you could play in and play these type of plays here. Now, with this said, the only thing I could see really causing the dollar to go up is literally, again, a manipulation from many other countries that are trying to push this market up here. So it's going to be really interesting. Also, when
Pedro, why would they push it up?
Because if the US dollar goes up and we are the common currency, the exchange, if they see the dollar go up, then the smaller countries who produce goods and services basically
then they're at an advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Damn it. So when the dollar goes down, they're at a disadvantage. If the dollar goes up, they're at an advantage because there's this currency interplay here. And so where do you want to buy goods and services? Anywhere
less
that's
expensive.
cheap. There you go. So that's in a nutshell. Next, so we went over the dollar. Let's go over here now. Crude oil. Crude oil we've seen just plummet from yesterday. Trump said, "Hey, knock it off, drop the market." Boom.
And so it dumped.
And you can see here, it hit our supply area here, which is kind of epic, right at the right time period. And then you can see here, it's coming down. So I've expected again to get back down to that 55, 50, 49, 48 area to play and to see kind of this type of situation. And again, consolidate and stay in that area for a time being until the rest of the world just gives up the ghost and says, "Uncle." So this is what I expect to see. Let's check out gold here. Gold is playing basically in our hands, man. Like it just should have held that. I should have held that, dude. I'm just mad at myself. Anyways, but you can see how gold came up to our liquidity area and just sold off. We talked about a sell-off in gold, expecting it to continue back down to that 31.87 to the 31.23 area. We have the 100-day moving average sitting right here and the 89 sitting right here. So I think we're going to come back down to here and see it kind of play in that level. So expect that if you want to play, you can. Obviously, we're bouncing off the 50-period moving average, but the really heavy hitter will be that 100-day moving averages as we continue. Now, if we sell through that and we see it continue down, expected to come back. The next play is going to be the 200. So it's going to be the 29 to the 28 area here, 2900 and 28 area as we sell off into the lower parts of this range. All right, next. Right here, please tell me you have it, please. Oh, good. All right. This is the yuan. They've literally not given it, and then they bring it back on, and then and I'm just like, ugh. So the yuan, like I said, was moving up, and you can see over here we go, over the last few days, it's starting to sell off. Now, again, I truly believe I was wrong in that. I apologize. My mind, I don't know why I said that because that was dumb for me to say. I knew it was selling off, so forgive me for that. I don't know why my brain says that sometimes. As it's going down here, we're watching them let it go. They're letting it go down here. So it's really interesting to see this happen. But again, they're going to have buyers down at that the 79. Why is this? That shouldn't. Okay. We'll go over this tomorrow again. I don't know why this is doing this. I'll be back in a second. I'll go over this in a second. Let's talk about NVIDIA. NVIDIA here is playing pretty nice. It's pushing up past our zone here. We had a few days of just kind of sell it, but it's pushing up. But again, I bring this up to point out, look at the volume here. It is descending as we are moving up. Again, this is the rope-a-dope.
Bad plan. Got some divergence there on some of your indicators.
You got major divergence here. And so this push up, and what's the biggest thing I always talk about? Where is the defense against the sell-off? There is nothing. So everybody and their mother is buying NVIDIA, but I expect NVIDIA to come back down, at least test this area here. But really, I expect us to come back down to here as I was talking about that 78 area here. So we'll find out if it does. But we have two plays here, the 111 area and the 78 area here. So there you go. That's one of the things I wanted to come on. Boom. Next one. We're gonna not Pepsi, Google. Google here, as you can see, is literally been kind of chilling, similar situation. You can see here there's not a lot of demand, but they're already starting to sell off. You can see Amazon similar situation. Descending, ascending. Divergence, expected to see a sell-off. Apple, guess what? This one's consolidating, but again, you're seeing an average amount of volume here, which is easy. It's if the rest of the 7 starts to sell off, this will sell off down to our level here, that 173, if not further. Next one, come on, stop. I don't know why it's not taking I keep clicking. All right, there we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, so you can see here again, we're seeing a decrease in volume. As we're moving, this decrease in volume is literally setting up for Tesla to come back down, testing this 249 to the 244 area. If not further, come back down and test that 158. After this lower area, if this gets through here, this has already been tested. This is not going to hold. We're coming back down to that 158 area, which is what I kind of expected. And again, there's a ton of buyers down here at that 158. If you want to take advantage of this and you don't have enough money, you can always do calls or puts, whatever you want to play there, because I know that's an expensive play, but they do have options there for you to be able to trade. Just learn what you need to learn on that. There's a lot of information in regards to options. Type in Optionetics beginner course, and you can move there on YouTube. Okay, Meta. Meta was really interesting here. We're seeing a push up. We're seeing volume step down here, but we know that they came up with the new Ray-Bans that are literally have the new AI connected to their eye. And I think that's honestly going to be a major push in relationship to the phone. I know that I'm looking forward to seeing more capabilities and more apps on the Ray-Bans before I really do buy it, but it's going to be really dope. So I think this is going to be a major play for Meta. So if Meta sells off, I think it will rival I believe it will rival the cell phones once they really start to develop and come out. All they really need to do is kind of evolve it a little bit more, and it's just like a phone, but for your eyes, you can see the world and have AR and VR interplay there.
Can you see the graphics?
No, I can't. I'm trying to focus it on.
Okay, I made a mistake.
Oh, all right.
You don't need.
You good? You don't even. All right. Okay. You can see here with this set, if this does play off, if it gets down to the 400 area, and again, if you want to buy this, you can buy this on Robinhood with micro shares. So go through, you pick up your micro shares as it's selling off. I like the area of the 4. That 350 area is going to be another area, which is where the 200-day period moving average is sitting. So if we get down to those levels, I definitely buy some micro shares if you can't afford it. If you can buy the full share, buy the full share.
And on Robinhood, you can use their options. Their options are very easy to use, and you don't have to sign any agreements or anything like that. Just as long as you're approved into their option part of their system, and it's instant and it's fast. And you can lose money really quickly on it. So consult your own investment advisor.
Yes. All right, guys. So you can see here, Netflix is again pushing up. They had some good earnings. Now, here's the thing I bring up. We're still seeing it go down, right? Look at all the volume leaving as this is moving up. This is a great play to come down and test that 1,000 area. I think if they see a sell-off, we should see a split. So this is why I'm saying if we see a market turn around and we start to see a sell-off, it'd be smart for many of these large, big companies to go in and potentially to split. Go ahead.
That volume's been coming down for all these stocks you've been showing us for literally the past month.
Yes. Yes.
That's interesting. I wonder if is that seasonal, or is that's just the market right now?
No, it's just because they're overpriced. Many of these are overpriced, and a lot of people know that, and so they let it go up as they sell off, right? So
divergence is opportunity.
Yep. And so you can sit there and see this, and it's pretty plain sight. So you can sit there. So all our viewers know what's going on. You're not ignorant to a lot of this stuff, which is what I want you guys to be ready for, right? I just want you guys to be ready for this. That's the biggest thing. Again, if you like what we're doing, please hit the share button, and please hit if any of you guys have made money or even traded this stuff, please, I give you guys alpha, and I hate to sit there and be but make it worth my while to really give you guys. And I mean, I don't need this. I know Tom doesn't necessarily need it, but we want to give real advice with real news. So I'm
making money right now, Pedro, because of your advice.
Yes, you are.
I'm up in a
starting to make
BTC
lot of
trade
money.
right now.
Starting to make a lot of money.
I'm up
Here.
$8.06.
Well, here's the thing. Compound interest takes itself. So that $8 or $20 can turn into $200, then turn to $2,000, and then turn to $10,000 a day, and then turn to basically $50,000. I've seen one man go from making $500 a day to about, he makes 50 mil?
50 mil.
50 to 100 mil. So I think that's about like, what is that? 100, like $200,000-$300,000 a day, and he started at 500. Compound interest takes care of itself, like I say. All right, so Netflix is going up, but I expect it to come back down. You can see the divergence clearly. It's not like you need to you can look, boom, take a line, see it go down. Next, let's talk about MicroStrategies. MicroStrategies, even though I do like Saylor, I think what he does is good, but I hate the fact that he keeps topping off and he hurts his company, right? My biggest fear is that he's going to basically get liquefied, and then all of that
Get liquefied.
That's pretty much it. If we see a Bitcoin come down to that, 30,000, 40,000 area, if we have another 2008 situation that kicks in or something similar, then I would expect to see it get down, see a huge sell-off. And so we'll find out what happens. But he would then get, basically the government would come in, he'd go belly up, and they would come in and say, all right, half of this is ours, or whatever it would be. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But as that said, we saw it go up here, but I talked about, again, we saw a divergence of volume come in on MicroStrategies. When he gapped up here, I said short this market, and here's our supply area. We came up into our supply area here. You can see, boom, we're now starting to sell off. We're touching that 8 period moving average. And again, I expect us to come back down and test that 290 area. See it come back up, test that 373 area, and come back down into that 204 area. Okay, so that's in a nutshell for that. Now let's go into BTC. What time is it? Okay, perfect. Whew, my goodness, dog. I just did all that.
Goodness gracious,
so
that was a lot. But I like the fast way through it. I like how you cranked through it today. That did well in the ability, and I was able to process all that information.
Yeah, trying to be very succinct and not make it complicated. Just market go up, market go down. This is how you're going to play. Now, next, let's go over Bitcoin, over what I expect over a long period of time. It's doing exactly what we said. I said here, we'd probably see it go up into this level, come back down. We should test this again, see maybe go up here, but then see it come back down, tap that 191 area here, see it come back up, and see it come back down to that 87 area. I'm expecting this stuff into July. I thought we'd maybe see a stronger rally of this month, but we did not. And so I'm expecting it to go down. You can see here over last week, a huge amount of sellers. Obviously, a lot of this had to do with what we saw in Iran and as well as Israel. And so as we see it going down here, I would expect to see it go into, so get ready to short that. Expect a bit of a market bounce here at that 94,955 area. Let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum has been playing nice, right? We saw it come back down. I expected us to go higher, right, into these higher levels, but we did not. But the key in, again, low volume, and from last week, this week, even lower volume. We're not even at halfway through it, right? So I don't expect us to see much volume come in. And so I'd expect us to then see a turnaround into this month and see it continue down. The next level of Ethereum is literally the 1500. So if you want to play this, this is around this area is the area that we're looking to take that short, because it's the weekly as well as the monthly area here that we want to take this short. So we're going to remove that. So, and this is where we're looking to see, and you can see it basically is showing weakness. Now, the biggest key here on this monthly is if we see an increase over the next week of volume, we're going to see a decent amount of volume, which will basically equal out or cancel out what we saw with the volume from last month or from last month. So when I look at the daily area, you can see here, increase of volume with sellers, a decrease in buyers, even though we're moving up. So I would expect this thing to come back and test this area here of that 200, which is going to be that 250 to the 20 or the 2581 to the 2506 area right here. This is where we're going to see it test, and then from there see it continue down, go even lower here. Let's check about BNB. BNB is real interesting. You can see here a similar situation, seeing it go down. Now let's go into XRP. Similar situation. We expect it to go down. Boom. Look at Tron. Tron is an interesting beast. Justin, I don't know what he's doing, man, but he's doing something right. So you can see that he's got a lot of buyers and a lot of sellers, but even then, if it does come down, it'll probably test that 100 period moving average, sitting at that 25-cent area. But I think he'll probably hold here, because you can see here, whereas we're seeing a lot of the other coins just basically look like this, he's having higher highs and higher lows literally since the beginning of the year. Came down, boom, and consolidated, and seen this. So it's just real interesting to watch. I wouldn't fade Justin Sun, just simply because the man is doing something right here. So if you're looking, if it does sell off, potentially it might sell off to our base here again, which is sitting at that like 22 area to the 20 area. But I really think we're going to see it get down to that 200 period moving average. Now, interesting thing here is that we're watching the 200 starting to go sideways. So this is one of those things I just don't know what's going to happen here. So we'll find out. But again, between that 25-cent area and that 22-cent areas are good buy areas for Tron. Doge, again, we're coming back down to our area right here with Doge. We're seeing it push back up. Doge is actually showing some strength, but ultimately there's been a ton of sellers stepping in the Doge. So as this comes down, I would expect to see it tap and blow through this area if we don't see a continuation of volume and coming back down to that 12-cent, 10-cent area before we see it continue up. All right, next one. Let's go over Matic Polygon here. Polygon is showing weakness. It's following the 8-period moving average. We've talked about this last week and watching it come down. I thought it was going to continue up. I was wrong on this particular play. As this is coming down, we hit that 8-period moving average. Next play is going to be the 9 cents. That's the next low area here. Okay. So that hurts.
They're going to drop a zero soon.
I don't know. I mean, they're an American play. You know what I'm saying? Trump's all about supporting America. Poly might be a part of that because it's so low. So we'll find out what happens. All they need is one thing. They've got a great blockchain. They're evolving. They're really working a lot. They haven't had a signature play yet. You know what I'm saying? Like all these other markets have had signature plays that brought a lot of attention to them. They haven't. Nobody's really building on Poly yet. And so
or anymore.
Or anymore, you're right.
I think
you're right.
I think they moved. I mean, people jumped out of Polygon to Solana very quickly.
Yeah, quickly. So with that said, the next play is honestly that 9 cents. If it gets down to that 9 cents, I'm buying, because the fact is that if this thing sees a rally, I mean, and I see it go to its all-time high, you know what I'm saying, which is basically like $2, $3 at 9 cents. Yo, that's a nice play there. So I'm looking to buy up what I can at 9 cents. I'm probably throwing like $400 or $500 to buy and see what happens there, right? But that's what I'm gonna do. ADA is looking similar like what we saw with Polygon, but the thing is again, this is in the strategic reserve, and so they are buying it. So we're back at its base right here. You can see we're playing here. The next level that I would expect it to see, if this thing starts to see a sell-off, is going to be at that 45 to 42 area here as we come and play this. Now we're bouncing off of our zone here. We bounced off it twice now, so I don't expect this to hold. Actually 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you can see each time we put in lower highs. So low, higher high, lower high, lower high. And so we're continuing down. So I expect it to come down to that 43, 42 area and then play potentially down at that 32-cent area again, which is where the basing was when before it exploded. So that's going to be super, super bullish for me at these lower levels. Solana has been getting demolished off of everything that's been happening, all the news, especially with Pump Fund getting just basically shut down, and many other avenues like Europe as well. I think Europe, did the UK shut it down as well? Pump Fund?
No, X shut it down,
Yes.
and another platform. But it was a smaller platform, but not. They can still use it in most countries. Some countries just don't allow people to invest in meme coins because they call them securities. And as usual, EU fights with the super regulators are like, they can't do that unless the banks run it. And other people are like, they're meme coins. They're not in the US. We're allowed to do them now, and they're just saying them. This is a game, you know. This is a game. You're betting. In fact, you need to pay attention more to the rules for betting in your location rather than securities. But anyway, Solana is. I mean, it was. Osama Salama. It was pumping earlier. It was up at almost 300, wasn't it? And everyone thought it was gonna be the next $1,000 token or coin, and then it just went in the tank.
It did. It went in the tank. So let's talk about where it potentially could go. So that 92 area is the next area that we could come back down to, but it's already been traded through already. You can see here we came back down here. So we put in a lower high here, which expects it to come back down to these lower lows here. And again, I expect us to hit it. That's going to be that 92, the 79 area. From there, I do expect it to fall through this area, which is going to be the next. And again, there is no other midpoint from here until we get all the way down to the 16 area. So the 16 to 8 area is the next low level. So this might be a good opportunity to short this market down at this level right now. We're playing off of the weekly 8 right now, where we're starting to play. You can see here, so the weekly 8, we bounced off of it and we came back down. You can see here, there's interplay between the 20 and 8. So if we push back up, the other thing that held us here was the 100-day weekly area here. The weekly chart here was that 100 period. But again, it's not showing a lot of strength there. Look at the amount of volume that came in last week, right? We sold off, came back up. We did not sell off first. We went up first for the week. So what do I say? If it goes up first for the week, expect it to go down by the end of the week. And so that's what I think. We're going to have a giant supply wick here, which will look like it will go down. So this is where I'm saying it might be a good play to take a short off of this area of 148 to the 147 area. So that's what I'm looking to do. So whatever you guys want to do, but that's what I'm looking to do.
Wait, hold on, I'm writing that down. Shorted it at what area?
The 148 to the 147 area on Solana, and then potentially first target is going to be that 101 to the 90 area.
That would be one fat short.
That's what she said. So so you can see here, coming from here, bounce off of the 101 to the 92 area. See, kind of bounce, put in a lower high, come back down, and see it continue. And I think we'll probably see it continue all the way down to that 16 area. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to say it. That's what the charts are looking like. Again, be ready. We're ready. Let's take that short on that. Let's go to TON. This breaks my heart, dude. I was hoping TON would take off. It didn't. You see, it kind of came back down. This is one of my letdowners. Makes my heart sad. But you can see
the open network didn't do it. Maybe they're just taking more time, or maybe that arrest in France spooked him, so he's not promoting it as much. But man, my God, it ground to an absolute halt.
Yeah. We can see we're consolidating. This is a huge indication. You can see the seller wick stepping in here. So you can see I'm expecting us to come back down to that $1.31 area as we come back down. And if you want to buy some at that level, it'd be a great place to buy in. And from there, we'll see what happens. DOT. Let's check out DOT here real quick. Another one I've been telling you guys to buy. I like this. I like this play. They are a foundational blockchain that really helps out many other blockchains. So I like DOT. So I'm hoping it gets back down to that 213, 142 area where you can buy it. I want to buy in at those levels and basically kind of accumulate a lot of stuff here. I think at these lower levels, this is where institutions, there are so many stops at that 142 area. This is too juicy for any institution to sit there and say, look, this is a banging value for the size and the scale of this company. Let's buy it. And so from there, I think we could
value.
Yeah, so from there we could see it get back up to that $11, if not 16 area. I expect us to still have a major bull run come in over this summer into the winter time, right? Into the 2026 area or 2026 year. And so at these lower levels, the sell-off here just indicates of a potential high value play here. So be ready to play that. Boom. AVAX, this is another one that breaks my heart. Our good old friend
Sorry,
here.
Chris.
Yeah, expect this thing to continue down here at the $10 mark area. And if the thing sells, which it hasn't gotten down here, I think it'll probably hold here at the $11, $10 area here. But if it does not, the next level is the $2 area. So kind of hold on. You can buy in at the $10 area here, but really, if you're gonna get in, I try to get in at these lower levels here. I really like those lower level here, so I'll be looking for that. Shiba Inu, you can see here as we come down into these lower levels, you can see here the market is coming. It's bouncing off of that 8-period moving average that we're watching, and I would expect it to see it continue down at these lower levels. And this is kind of crazy that I'm even talking about this, but this is going to be come and test that I think it's 5087 area here. If this does not hold, the next level again is to come back and test the lows here. So I think we'll see it hold though at the 50877 area. So that's it in a nutshell with the top 10. And I did that all. Oh, I gotta go.
All right, everybody. Pedro mentioned here real quickly, there was a reference to Chris and Justin, the crypto swamp creatures. Behind me, you can see on our website a link to their playlists. Great podcast. Two wonk talking head guys, witty and knowledgeable, that talk about the nexus of crypto, digital asset industry, and Washington, D.C. You should tune into them. Pay attention to your social media from DYOR Media, because we post all about them, and they have good stuff, and we want you to watch so we can make fat stacks of cash on advertising. Speaking of, if you're a promoter or advertiser or something like that, this is the page that says sponsor or hire us. We have all of our offers for sponsorships and our needs and ideas for integrating your stuff into our show with your cash into our pockets. Anyway, Pedro, thank you very much for that. I'm going to continue the show just for a few minutes, just to keep the hours up on Rumble here. But thank you very much for your knowledge today. Technical Tuesday is always one of my favorites, because I pull a little nugget out of the whole thing that I say, I should have learned that in the 1980s, and I didn't. But I file it away and I write it down in my notes. And I'm also going to be looking to short Solana, short Apple, short Google, short Facebook, short Tesla, short... I'll either be next week. I'm going to be stinking rich or broke and just wearing tattered clothes.
Just small risk, right? We always talk. I don't want anybody to.
My trade right now is a $7 margin.
There you go. Yeah, small risk, because again, I always talk about, if you consistently hit a first, and you don't always need to have a home run. Go for singles and doubles. Go singles and doubles. Really start to add up. I mean, just think about $50 a day. If you make, that's $250 on a weekly basis. And if you do that for 3 months, 6 months, all of a sudden you've got a few $1,000s in your account. Then move it to, then you increase your risk just a little, right? Increase it again where you can try to make $75, $100 now. Boom, do that for another 6 months.
I got a quick question for you, Pedro.
Yeah.
Have you tried 1775 coffee yet?
I have not. Please tell me about it.
Wait, if you still
with that said, I do gotta go. Later.
Adios, amigo. If you haven't tried 1775 coffee yet, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, only 1,000 units. It's scarce like Bitcoin. Only so many are made. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash. No, no, no. The single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip. Because freedom is not scooped with plastic. No, no, no. No microplastics. And a black 1775 tumbler that says, "I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch." I'm sure that is supposed to be the B word, but they tuned it down for this ad. Anyway, $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is the same. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is worth it. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and amazing routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. 1775coffee/studio. Grab your starter kit before they're gone. Also, this QR code right here, ladies and gentlemen, click that. If you're viewing this right now, just click it anyway. Go see what the offers are. Just clicking it and going to their website helps out our channel. Lets them know our viewers are real. So please do that. Ladies and gentlemen, 1775coffee.com/studio. Also in the link in your comment section or this QR code right here. Oh, I love doing that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, thanks to Rumble and 1775 Coffee. If you 1775 Coffee guys are listening, send me some. Send me some, and I'll put them back on Pedro's desk here during the show, for free of charge. Just because we get to read. You're the first ad we ever read on Rumble. And doing that, we earn far more money than we do on YouTube for you guys skipping over their ads. I mean, far more. I mean, that ad right now, we earn 36 cents. That's right, 36 cents. Can believe it. I bet you can believe it. I bet you can believe it. Anyway, here now, let's see what's going on. I guess Powell is either at lunch. I've got Bloomberg surveillance here on the side, and I was expecting to see Jerome Powell on there. He must have stopped because the market pumped a little bit, and then it's coming back right now. The price above my head is not correct. Let me fix that up. It should be on auto refresh, and it is not. And if anyone from CoinMarketCap or Binance, because you guys own CoinMarketCap, is watching, your Bitcoin price page is so overloaded with JavaScripts and copy. That little page that runs this thing up there takes like half my computer's cycles. And I have to isolate certain JavaScript code so it doesn't do that. It's a pain in the keister. Anyway, thanks to Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst here, for his talk about that. I learned something new about bonds here today. Always do when Pedro talks. Always learn something new. And I hope all of you do too. Pedro gives out a lot of information that is very useful, and in his head it all makes sense. And I know in our heads it doesn't all make sense. So what we're trying to do for that, and I'm woefully behind on this, is come out with an app in which we can put all this information in. And all you have to do is look at the app and say, Pedro said sell Solana at this price, buy it back at this price. Trade US bonds here. If you're a bond trader, trade US bonds here. Or you can go back and criticize them and say, hey, that was effed up. You got it all wrong. So we like constructive criticism too, obviously. So that you'll hear me refer to it as trade wave. Oh, did you guys hear Mr. Trump just curse at the at the reporter. He dropped the F-bomb when talking about Israel and Iran violating the ceasefire that he brokered. It turns out it wasn't exactly that much of a ceasefire. It was the world stop tomorrow, but until then we're gonna knock him out. And he wasn't happy with that, and he dropped the F-bomb. They don't effing know what they're doing. Oh well, that's Trump for you. Anyway, today's trade for me was a Bitcoin trade. I'm trying to turn a $500 account into a $10,000 account, or at least have $10,000 gains or $9,500 in gains. And by starting slowly. Right now, you can't see it in this chart here, but if you could, you'd see that my wallet's at $716. So I started yesterday with this new account, fed it $500, and now I'm at $716. All starting with very small trades, like you heard me say earlier with Pedro. My trade, Bitcoin trade, used only $7 in margin. Now I'm trading the futures, so I had leverage on. I used 200x leverage, and you might think that's a little crazy, 200x leverage. But if you use a small amount of money and watch the chart, it actually works pretty well because you can keep your risk down. Now, since I have $500 in the account, I can't make big trades. I can't make a $250 trade and put 2 leverage on it. That would be $500, and one trade could wipe me out. So I try to use as little as possible margin of my own, borrow the exchange's money, and do it with that. Obviously, you have to have stop orders on or use leverage systems with zero liquidity. In order to do that, an account with $500, they obviously can't do zero liquidity trading, futures trading. I shouldn't say liquidity, liquidation trading. If you don't know what zero liquidation trading is, head over to the Crypto Lifer Discord, and in there he has another teacher in there called Master Friend, who gives a course on leverage trading with typical risk management, meaning you put a stop order in and a take profits order in. And he also has another one in which he teaches a leverage mastery system, in which you basically can master leverage by trading small amounts that even when you DCA or mitigate your trade, you don't reach a liquidation point, and it allows you to participate in a boom in the market. In other words, you build a position, and so whenever that market kicks off, you have a position. You're not chasing it when it turns the other way. It works very well. It works very well. But you have to get used to it. You have to practice it. I've practiced it for many months now, and I'm doing it on $2 trades. The $7 trade I just had on, I did not use it. I used a typical stop order. Put my stop order in below the 200 moving average. You can see right here. I put my order in here. You can't really see it. Let me bring it over here. On the chart, the Bitcoin chart here, I put my my long in about here, somewhere like that, earlier today, around 10 o'clock, something like that. And it cooked, went up, went down a little bit, flirted with this red line's the 200 moving average here, and then pumped up a little bit, and came back down. My stop order was right under the 200 moving average. It was a little below it before, but when it pumped up, I moved it close to here, and I thought I was going to get stopped out. I tend to mess with my stop orders too much. And it's called, when you do that, it's called choking it out. And I learned that the hard way. But it didn't hit me. And then when apparently this is when Jerome Powell stopped speaking, and the market pumped up a little wick there, and it started coming back down during the show here. And so I sold off and made $8. Made 100% on my money today. That's pretty good. I mean, how often have you heard someone, they say, oh, I put $1,000 in the bank and I got $1,005 12 months later. And they got their 5%. Whoop, whoop. Right? that right? 1,000. I got there $50. $50, not $5. Got there $50. Big deal. I utilized $7 today, and I earned $7. If I had a bigger account, I would have utilized 70 and earned 70. And if I had an even bigger account, I would have utilized 700 and made 700. That's how that works. I could have lost too. Remember, this is futures trading is not for the faint of heart. And while I'm using Mexi, because they have a good platform too that I've just used for many years, I also use BidFi, our sponsor here. And if you want to learn to go long and short with Pedro and I, grab an account at BidFi. If you click this link, you get a referral code. You get all kinds of free stuff. You get free money to trade, USD, all kinds of stuff going in. Rewards. I can't even explain it now. I haven't done the BidFi ad in a while, but I actually haven't heard from our rep at BidFi in a while, so I don't know if we have a campaign going on, but I do know if you put in $100 USDT, they will give you $100 USDT, and I might too. I might send you a 100 USDT for opening an account and putting it in and trading. So if you want to participate in that, let us know. Let us know. So thank you everybody that's over there watching on Rumble. Really appreciate it. If you could get some comments, we'd appreciate it. Comments have been light today. Pointing over here at the comment machine on this TV. And it's light. It's me and Pedro, a couple other ones. Typical scammer from Twitch. We haven't been broadcasting on Facebook or Kick lately. We miss those scammers that are over there. We used to get a lot of views on Facebook, and then they started cracking down on crypto. It's really weird. We did well on YouTube and Facebook during the Biden administration. Like we've had 500 viewers at a time. And Rumble, we did not well at all. During the Trump administration, we've done terrible on YouTube and Facebook, and very well on Rumble. Very strange. Very strange. You think with the easing of rules around crypto and the legalization of everything and the regulation of it, and they just came out the other day and said, the banks can do what they want with it. You think YouTube and Google and the whole Meta and all those people would be like, fine, this stuff is good. A lot of people are watching it. There's 20 million people in the US invested in crypto. Let's get their eyeballs on our stuff. Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Anyway, we've got nine more minutes until we can run another ad, and I'm gonna stick it out for that. Couple of the news stories that I wanted to talk about. I'll talk more about my trading in a minute. That's the most interesting part, but I wanted to talk about this story here. This one, teen has strong incentives to flee after pleading guilty to $245 million in Bitcoin heists. Now do you think to yourself, man, they ripped off an exchange. These hackers were sophisticated. They were like involved with North Korea or the Russians or Chinese, somebody like that. They had a nation state behind them to take $240 million, $245 million. No, with Veer Chatel. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Veer Chatel. He and his friends conducted just social engineering attacks on random crypto people. And he hit one guy. They'd hit people for like, a couple Solana or something like that, or a few $100. And he hit one victim. They got $245 million out of. Imagine that. You just randomly getting in touch with people in the crypto market via Telegram or however, and you social engineer. I think they pretended they were Coinbase support people. Government argued this is about him fleeing the country. Of course he's going to flee the country. I believe he's from India or Pakistan, whatever. Faces 24 years in jail. Scare social engineering victims into leaking their private keys via screen sharing service and sending their crypto funds from Gemini Exchange to a compromised wallet on-chain. Detect, of course, Zach XBT, excellent account to follow. The threat actors targeted a single Genesis creditor by calling as Google support via spoof number, calling after as Gemini support, claiming account is hacked, social engineering victim into giving them all their monies. Whoops. Anyway, I thought that since I talk about fraud a lot on here and getting wrecked, I thought that was an interesting one. Anyway, Bitcoin moving back up. I shouldn't have closed that trade out. Anyways, as they say, pay the trader. Let's see, what do I got here on my chart? I got a couple of lines here and how I've been learning. This blue line at the bottom here, right here, it says weekly open if you can't read the words. I keep track of the weekly opening price because it's a good indicator of where you are in the market. Are you above the open? Are you in a premium market? Are you below the open? In the discount market? You want to, obviously, if the market goes below the open for the week, you want to be a buyer there. Market opened and just kind of went up, except for a quick drop. Yesterday, oh yeah, that was the money printer model. I made money on that one. Had 3 good trades yesterday. Yesterday I brought the account from $500 up to $604. It was a good day. Actually, it was a little bit more than that. And then overnight, I had an overnight trade on SEI, which just pumped like crazy. In fact, let's look at SEI. This thing, I could not figure it out. I mean, my God, this chart. This is not a meme coin. This is an actual. I don't know what the project is, but it went yesterday from 19 cents to a high 27 cents. And that's pretty good for a project. It was up 38% yesterday or something like that. So if you're playing the futures market, this is the MEXI Futures Exchange. That's big money making time. Big money making time. And I just caught a little bit up in that swale up there. Once it pulled back a little and bounced off the one of those moving averages there, I said, all right, I'll get a little trade, and I paid off very handsomely. Very handsomely. Anyway, and everyone says that project's going even higher, which I just can't believe. Somebody said it's a combination of Sui and Solana, so if you can figure out what that means, let me know. Sui has almost the same chart as them. Let's hit Bitcoin back here again. Sui has the same chart as Bitcoin. Anyway, Bitcoin's still pumping a little bit here at the end of the day here. Thanks everyone for watching here. It looks like if you guys can hang on for a few more minutes, 3 minutes and 41 seconds, I'll get to read another ad. And I bet you it's going to be a Truth Social ad. We'll see about that. Anyway, share this link with your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Get a couple more people in here and ask me questions. I'm learning as a trader. I first started in the commodities markets. Sorry about that. In the late 80s, actually. I know I don't look that old, but I'm a child of the 1960s. And I worked on the New York Commodities Exchange, the COMEX, and the New York Mercantile Exchange, the Coffee, Sugar, Cocoa Exchange, the U.S. Cotton Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange's Futures Division, which was the Knife, Dollar Index, CRB. The CRB was someone else. Whatever. For a couple of years. And then I took 27 years off into manufacturing in real life. And then crypto came back to my life during COVID, and trading all these other things came back to my life also. We used paper. We had paper charts, and mostly people just drew Bollinger Bands, and that was it. And it sucked. And now we have all this great technological information, every indicator you could possibly imagine. And I'm relearning it. I'm relearning all this. And mostly what I've had to relearn were the basics, the complicated parts, and the mental aspect of learning when not to trade. How many of you out there are guilty of FOMO? How many are guilty of FOMO? All of you? I'm gonna guess everyone's guilty of FOMO. Right? Right. Or you see it's pumping, and you're like, man, I gotta get it. I gotta get in there. I gotta get in there. Like, here's a good example. Yesterday, Bitcoin pumping right here. This was one of the things I learned, and it applies mostly to Bitcoin and the big tokens that are very liquid and heavily traded. I learned how not to trade. Let me bring this back so I can point to it. Like right here. This thing right here. Mooning. And in the past, I would have tried to buy here. By the time I would have got my trade up and all that, I would have bought here. And then it would have mooned a little bit. I'm like, yeah, it's going. And then it pulled back and slowly sunk down. So I would have been in the negative. I would have been the exit liquidity that all the people had sold here. And that was a very typical trade for me back in the day, because I just assumed I didn't come from a day trading aspect into this. I came from the crypto aspect, in which everything either mooned or rugged, and so you had to get in or had to get out. And that mentality is breaks your processes. The crypto coin, the meme coin. That whole thing just ruins your trading mind. It does, because it causes you to FOMO, it causes you to panic sell, causes you to think about drama, gossip, all the millions of things that could happen outside of buying and selling that could go wrong with a project. It would be like if you were trading GM stock, General Motors cars, and you're wondering if the CEO is getting in a car accident every day, or if he's secretly stealing all the money from the bank account. And so every time you saw it sell, you're like, oh my God, he's stealing the money from the bank account. Stock traders in Wall Street, they don't have those crazy thought processes that you learn in crypto. But it was very hard to drum that out of my head. So yesterday when I saw this pumping, I said to myself, that's awesome. I'm not part of it because I didn't buy down here. I'm not going to buy during it. But I know if it goes up, it's going to come down. Now, if you look at this thing here, you go, well, Tom, it didn't come down. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Right here. This little thing here. You know if it came up. So what I was waiting for after this, and there's another one down below I'll show you too. I waited for it to come up here and show a little weakness in the moving averages, and I knew it was likely to come down. And I waited for it to come down. I could have shorted it, but I didn't. Trend was up, so I wanted to long. Waited for it to come down here. I caught the reversal and came. It doesn't look like that much, but if you use a few dollars and 200 leverage, you can make 20, 25 bucks on $2 pretty easily. And here, this one, this is a great example of it. This was a well, I'll just, in my mind, is a classic money printer model here. What happened, you saw the liquidity sweep here, coming down here, boop, comes down. That's not the right sound effect, but comes down, takes everyone's money. Now, the crypto mentality, here's your crypto mentality. Crypto mentality is it's going to zero when it does this. When you see a crypto chart I'm trying to block this part out, which just falls off and heads down like that, what do? You're banging that sell button. Boom, 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 sell. I want out before. I don't want to be the last one out. When you bring that into Bitcoin trading and day trading, that is toxic thought. Because what happens is you end up getting on this FOMO train and panic selling, and you lose money. Instead, now I wait for this to come down, figure out when the reversal is going to be, or not exactly, but just close. You can watch the reversal start and get in on it, and then participate in the recovery from it. And look what happened. They did the liquidity sweep here, and then they pumped it. And I participated in it from about here till it started coming back here, and made like $40 or $50. A much different trading mentality, and I got to thank obviously Pedro for getting me into the day trading and having the mindset of someone to get here and be at the computer in the morning, and also to my friends at Crypto Lifer and Master Friend for really beating it into my head. Well, unfortunately, it's time to read the ad, but the viewership dropped by 2. So we need a couple more people. They changed their rules. Since we're broadcasting a number of platforms, it used to count all those viewers towards your ad reading, and now they just count the Rumble ones, which is not fair. Not fair at all. Because sometimes YouTube's good to us, sometimes it's not, so it gives us the ad. So for those of you that are watching us, get one friend, open another browser, help me get a couple of more viewers on here so we can read one more ad. Keep the big money flowing in. Anyway, while I wait for that to happen, I'm going to talk about a trade that Pedro. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Pedro spoke about. Sol USDT. Talk about shorting Solana. He had some lines drawn in here. This is a virgin chart for me. I haven't looked at this at all. Oh, that's a 5-minute chart. Let me pull the. Let's put a 4-hour chart up and see if that helps. If you notice, I changed my charts to no red candles. I never have any red candles anymore. They're now white candles. Why? Because someone mentioned that, if you panic seeing red candles, just switch their color. It's amazing how it works. It gets totally the mentality of seeing red candles and seeing red out of your head. It works fantastic. Anyway, Pedro had put, all right, here's the other low here for Solana. 96. I think he had it at 97. And Solana's at 144, and he said once it gets up to be, he thinks once it gets up to be 148 or 150 over the next month, it's going to drop from there back down. Because Pedro always says in order to go down, it's got to go up. So Pedro's thinking it's going to do this. Oop. Through July and August, mostly through July. I can get down to 96, which would be catastrophic for a lot of traders out there, that's for sure. But it's a good play to see coming. Now, obviously, it won't go like that. It would, hold on. It would do, like that. And so just, if you were to say, oh, I'll just put a short in and check in a month, it's not easy to do that because I have a small account. So I would tie up a lot of my money doing so because the margin required to do that, I probably wouldn't even be able to do that, even at small amounts of leverage. I could do it at no leverage. I probably should do that. I could do it at no leverage or 1x leverage. You can participate and do a long-term trade, long-term short. I might try that. I'm going to write that down. If any of you guys out there want to participate in these live trades with me, be sure to sign up for BitFi below me here. I didn't realize I was standing in the way of the salamis. But I know a bunch of other Hold on, let me turn some things off here. Well, Pedro's not here, so enjoy him. Is it going to go off? Oh, there we go. Anyway, so the idea is that Solana is going to be rolling over, coming down here. It's probably heresy. There's probably people on the internet that want to kill me because of it. I shouldn't say that, but obviously people want to see a rebound in Solana to go up because a lot of people are holding this from $100, $140. So a lot of people still holding it from $200, according to Chain Analysis. There's a lot of wallets underwater on Solana. A lot of people bought during the pump. And altcoins, as you know, have been tanking. Bitcoin dominance has been high, meaning that if people had a choice to put their money in altcoins or anything else, or Bitcoin, they've been choosing Bitcoin by a large margin. Battery might be dying on my mic. But anyway, so that doesn't bode well for alts. And what the alts need is some good consolidation by Bitcoin over a long period of time, like all summer. In fact, we've seen that in other summers that Bitcoin is consolidated, really the past two. And as the summer came to a close, alts said, all right, it's time to rock and roll. In the past 2 Octobers, you've seen, like 2 Octobers ago, basically every alt 10x'd. People made all sorts of money. And then last year, they didn't 10x, but a lot of them, 2x'd, 3x'd in October. It's a big pump month. It was Pumptober. That's what it was. And so nobody wants to see that come down and erase those gains. But these things can happen. Let me. I should have. I should have the Salama. I can't. Ever since I heard someone call it Salama, and other people referred to it as salamis, I can't possibly call it the right thing. Let's see if the pricing module is available for this. No. There it is. Trading at $144 right now, essentially $145. $76 billion market cap. Imagine launching a product. Imagine you're, I can't remember his name, the founder of Solana. Launching a project, just like 70,000 people a week do on Pump Fund. And all of a sudden you have a $76 billion market cap. And they've been as high as 150 billion, I believe. Billion, not million. And not a manipulated market cap, that there's money in there. And not only that, but $6 billion have been traded in the 24-hour time frame. Means people like me, well, I don't trade Solana, but other people have taken that guy's product and traded it for $6 billion worth. That's amazing to me. Anyway, so Pedro's calling Salama down there. So I'm going to figure out a way to put a short on when I can. Probably take 10 bucks and see if I can turn it into 100 bucks over a period of a month. What was the other one that he mentioned? Oh yeah, he was calling Bitcoin. Let's go back to Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. This was interesting what Pedro was calling out here. Oops. Oh, I don't have to be able to do this easily on my chart. How about we hide everything? Can I draw on it? No, it unhides everything when you draw on it. Let me bring up TradingView. Ah, yes, that was a poor showing there. charting. Anyway, Pedro, I don't know if you noticed, Pedro was calling it. Welcome everyone that's just joined us on Rumble. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get a few more people here to follow us. We're trying to get to 200 followers here on Rumble, and a few more people watching right now, so I can read those Rumble ads that you guys so enjoy. From 1775 Coffee, Truth Social, another at Crypto Exchange, Rake something. Saw that one in the queue. Didn't get a chance to read it. Anyway, let me try and tell you what Pedro was talking about here. Let me delete. What Pedro was talking about was Bitcoin coming back down to the 89 to 90 area. If you can stomach that. Now, obviously, we saw Bitcoin come down to 98 just the other day. Flashed down there, money printed its way out. Everyone made a ton of money that paid attention to that trading model. But what he's talking about is Bitcoin. Oops. Bitcoin coming down to here. I have this on the wrong time frame chart here. Let's put this on the daily chart here. I'd like to hear what Master Friend has to say about that. I think what we have here, this local low here, is kind of a dividing point. If we can hold up and stay above this line, I think people were talking about Bitcoin going back up pretty high, at least running up to 111, 112, 113,000 again. But if we break this down, that it would be carnage here and come down. And Pedro is talking about, why doesn't it do that? Pedro was talking about Bitcoin doing this. Well, I just drew that down to 60. Okay, that's not right. Let me fix this chart here. Pedro's talking about Bitcoin. Doing something like that. Now, obviously, I drew it going backwards. It's not going to do that. Go backwards in time. But he probably assumes the same thing that others have. That is that if it breaks down below here, it's going to lose its support. And that's not even the right way of saying it. It's not that it's a support level. It's just that there's a ton of liquidity down in this area. A lot of orders, that type of stuff. And so that it would likely come back down there. I drew that down into March, but Pedro was talking about, let's draw it right. Pedro was talking about coming down from here, doing that. Oh, but look at that. Okay, all right, you guys. Thanks for you guys staying here, because we now got an ad. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This sponsorship is from Rumble, the one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they didn't censor. Let me rephrase that, I skipped a sentence. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought that platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID. Well, they did. Facebook admitted they felt the pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving you a voice to talk to you. That's not the right grammar. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. You guys got to clean that up. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Can you imagine there are advertisers that say, I don't want to be on Tom and Pedro's shows because it's too controversial. All we're talking about is how to make money in the financial markets, which people pay massive amounts of money to be on CNBC and all that. But corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers as they don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join a community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO. And I believe there's a button here and something in the comments too. It's also a QR code right over here. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're happy if you just watch us on Rumble. And we have done that. We've told many of our viewers to switch from watching us on other platforms. And we still broadcast to other platforms and kind of push everyone to Rumble because it's a better experience. And we also earn more money on advertising from it. We really appreciate that for Rumble. So anyway, join the community that believes in the First Amendment, believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium, use the promo code STUDIO. Just click on the link, take your camera. If you're watching on the desktop, take your camera out, boop, take the picture, go to the website. Even if you don't buy it, let the advertisers know that we're real people so they keep sending us ads to read. So thank you, Rumble. We'll try and get those. And in Rumble, if you guys get my creator application finished, all of this stuff will work a lot better. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, this is a two-way street here. This is an interactive show. So we have a comment section if you want to drop a comment or a question about things, even though I'm learning about trading and crypto. And for that matter, I should say relearning day trading. After working for companies like E.F. Hutton and Prudential Base, Shearson Lehman, which became Lehman Brothers, way back in the day. I'm relearning it. Pedro's helping me, so most questions I can answer or give you an opinion on. But if you come to me with something about option trading, the general ideas about option trading, because I used to do that in New York, but deep discussions about theta and decay and all that type of stuff and volatility. Nope. This in the live streaming business, this lady, we call it a hostage video. I'm looking at the corner of my eye, I'm like, what's wrong with it? Remember the hostage videos where the people are just, there's a white, kind of a beige, dirty wall behind them, and then the guy comes up and cuts their heads off? Or maybe not on camera, but says they're going to do it because they're a hostage. That's a definition of a hostage video right here. I'm not saying that lady's a hostage. I'm saying the poor choice of how to be lit and the background makes it look like you're one of those hostage videos. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's about it. Without any questions from the audience, I've spoken long enough. Like I said, I'm relearning trading and all that, so I'm going to get back into that for the rest of this afternoon. Try to participate. The market is very flat, so hopefully the market will get a little volatility somehow here, or at least on the Asia Open tonight. And as everyone knows, crypto operates 24 hours a day, and so do most of the day trading markets. They move on certain exchanges, like the futures exchanges themselves, not the perpetual exchanges, but futures exchanges. They trade in certain time periods. During this time period is the New York time period with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange kind of leading the way, and of course a million other firms too. And then it switches to Asia. Asia takes over for the beginning part of the evening because it's their morning. And then London takes over. And the biggest time of the day to trade is essentially 7 a.m. to 11:30, 12 a.m. New York time, because that's when London and New York overlaps and when there's the most liquidity and most people trading. So if you're lucky enough to have a positive winning trade by 11 a.m. on any weekday, you can take the rest of the day off. Just go F right off. Don't even have to do any research for tomorrow. Don't have to plan anything. Can just F off every day at 11, go play golf. I wish it was that easy, ladies and gentlemen. I wish it was that easy. I like how now there are all sorts of B2 bomber experts out there on Twitter and on X and stuff like that. I mean, the planes are designed in the early 80s. I mean, in the early 80s. That's when they were designed. And that's why the new one, the Night Raider, the new B2 coming out, is designed in these years with modern stuff. The B2 bombers are actually very old technology, but they're awesome. They're awesome. I first saw my first B2 bomber. I was at Indianapolis 500 for race day many years ago. It was in the late 90s when the Kosovo War was going on. And the B2s would take off from Missouri, go fly to Europe, drop bombs, and come back to Missouri. And one of them did it, and they explained this in the crowd. The crowd said he's returning from a run, an operational role over Kosovo, over Serbia, and then on the way back, descended out of the sky and flew down the home stretch of the Indianapolis 500 track, the speedway. And for me, sitting in the stands, I'm getting the chills just talking about it right now. It was so awesome. For me, it looked like it came like 10 feet from my head. Obviously, it was, much higher than the stadium itself. And it came down at first time I'd ever seen it in person. And with those wings, you saw it on the horizon. And then it just roared right down the home stretch, and it was unbelievable. And you're just like, I couldn't even believe it. And I'm someone that follows the defense industry. I was in the defense industry at the time. And I worked in the defense industry for almost 3 decades, and still to this day, knowing that we can make stuff like that is incredible. Incredible. Anyway, I guess these people are still debating whether there is a ceasefire or not. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got for you today. Thank you to my good friend Pedro Garcia for... Let me get the kick tracks out here. Actually, you know what? I think I have them in the great voice machine here. Yeah, I had to get the... America. I should have run that when I was talking about the... you know what I was supposed to start doing? I didn't do it today. I was supposed to do that little sound when an ad started playing, to signify that we were doing an ad. There's the kick tracks. Manila kick tracks is coming up. Manila kick tracks always signify what? Yeah, that's right. The end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We had a good show. It was Technical Tuesday. Got some ads. See if that's too loud or not. I never tried that because it muffles the media or the audio a little bit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, had a good Monday, had a good Tuesday. Pedro and I will be with you tomorrow here. Be going over the trades that I've made in that time, see how I'm doing advancing my account from $500 to $10,000. I should say 10,000 in gains. I'll be taking some out probably to needlessly pay things like rent and heat and all that type of stuff. It's always the goal. If anyone's got any last minute comments, here's the time. Who likes to be the last one? Just let us know. Where's Jesus when you need him? Where's Succa Free City? Well, thanks to everyone that watched us on Twitch. We had a good crowd over there today. We had 4 whole people on Twitch. Thank you very much. Anyway, Today was Technical Tuesday. Tomorrow is just Wednesday, talking about the markets. 12 o'clock noon. Be there.